Hi everybody, welcome to Love Speaks Love. I'm Denise, your host, and my beautiful guest today is my dear, dear friend and sister, Tori Bassett. Welcome, sweetheart.
Thank you, darling.
Now, just bear with me a second while I go on to Facebook and just double check that all is in order. Turn my phone off as well. And see if anybody's with us yet. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to share it. I keep saying this is where I need an intro. So it's smooth, because I can't talk very well. I want to introduce you, but I can't focus on that as well as do this. So, okay, I might just do share to some groups. There. So Tori is in New Zealand. She is English, but she is in New Zealand and has been for quite a few years, 12, 15-ish.
16 years, actually.
Oh, my word.
Oh, my word.
And we met, it feels like I've always known you, but we met, it's probably 7 years ago.
Probably 6 years, 6 or 7 years.
And we were in an online group together doing kind of like spiritual work. And when I went to New Zealand, the first place that I stayed, and who met me at the airport over there? Tori. So I spent Christmas and New Year with Tori, which was amazing, to actually meet her in person. And when we first met, there was an instant connect there. And some of the work that we did was similar. And Tori at the time was speaking light language, and it was coming through for me, but not as strongly. And you were speaking light language for longer as well. And you were very inspirational to me at that time with the light language. And I know that your keys and frequencies, and just the fact that you were so comfortable doing it, actually really helped me along. And I'm just going to say a few words that Ivania wrote about you before, which is, and hi Ivania, I know you're here. Tori is a unique gem waiting to be discovered. And I second that. So Tori's been doing kind of healing work, starting with, I'll let you kind of go into this a little bit more after we do the heart-to-heart connect. But kind of started along a similar journey with me, really, with energy work and land work as well, working on the grids. But pre that, Tori was a sculptor. She's an amazing artist. She claims not to be a singer, but actually she sings really well. When she speaks light language, she sings light language as well. And I know light language, you haven't always been, like, you went through a bit of a phase of not speaking it so much as well. And she has brought through something called Reset to Love. And I would love to speak to you more about that afterwards too. She's also a musician. She plays the cello. So she is a woman of many, 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 many talents. And I love her very dearly. And she oozes love. And she's really living from a place of love. There you are.
Oh, oh, wow. What an intro, honey. Gorgeous. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. I would love, for those of you that haven't seen the show before, Love Speaks Love is a platform for people to get together, speak from the heart, share wisdom, experiences, sometimes ceremony. And my dream really is for all of us to be living from the heart, to be making our decisions from the heart, and to be much more aware of our heart space and inner heart space. So that is the main reason why I start the introduction with us doing just that. So I invite us all to just close our eyes if we're in a position to do so, and obviously not if you're driving or operating heavy machinery. But let's just bring our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest. And let us all breathe in love and out love. Breathing love into every cell of our bodies. And breathing out anything of the day so far or the day ahead. Breathing out any worries, any fears, anything that's stopping us from being in this now moment. And let us also breathe in joy. And while we're in this beautiful space of love, I invite us all to send love from our hearts to every heart on the planet. And connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia, the heart of the sun, and the heart of Source Creator. And as we do this, recognizing that we are in one unified field of love and unity. And visualizing the earth now wrapped in love. And joining all of our hearts together. Everybody watching this live or on the replay or on YouTube. Feeling Gaia's love for us, the sun's love for us, and Source Creator's love for us. And visualizing a beautiful golden web of light now around the planet that is also full of love. Okay. So you were my third guest, I think, on Love Speaks Love. I think you were the third. So it's almost a year since you were here before, and it's been quite the year, hasn't it? There's been a lot that has happened. So you know, if this show resonates, the other show, it's probably the easiest way to find it is on the YouTube channel, which is Inner Peace with Denise. But Tori, I'd love to hear, for those that don't know you, I would love to hear kind of how you got to be in this place that you are now, like how your awakening was, and how you went from being a sculptor who was working in the film industry to doing what you're doing now. Like how did that transition happen?
Yeah, huge transition, and lots of steps to that transition along the way. I had what I considered a fairly normal life, doing my thing, working very, very physically with my hands, creating sculpture, and yeah, having no real awareness of anything beyond my life in the physical up until the age of 36, and that was probably 2 years or maybe 18 months after arriving in New Zealand. And I had a very, very sudden, very overnight, well, it felt very sudden, awakening of my consciousness, basically, and a huge expansion all at once. Yeah, which was very shocking in the beginning, because my sight and lots of senses were opened simultaneously. So I was able to see energy and feel energy, and it was it really was just like that, and couldn't really have ever been any other way. It was a really quick reveal to me, which I'm ever so grateful for now, because it taught me so much. And at the time it was overwhelming, because I could see the light and the dark, and the contrast of myself and of the collective consciousness very, very, very quickly. Very en masse, on a really big scale. It was like an opening to everything all at once. It was like having a really, really big switch on, in one hit, and it took a lot of navigating. It took years of kind of conscious expansion, which started with a pop, to really, really get a deep and thorough understanding of what was going on. But what was being shown to me right from the beginning was the pain and the separation and our soul fragments. So I saw our soul fragments, and what I mean by this are the pieces of us that we've left behind so many times in so many different ways through our lifetimes and our journeys as souls, were appearing to me. And there was absolutely nothing I could do to stop them appearing, and I had to very, very quickly surrender to what was going on. And I knew in an instant, when I had this awakening as well, I knew that I had been called into service to assist with the awakening of humanity that has reached its peak now. But this was 14 years ago, and there weren't a lot of people talking about the sort of things that we talk about now. And there was a huge necessity within myself to keep quiet about what was going on for me, because it seemed so extraordinary and out there that I never, I didn't speak, because it didn't make sense to me fully, and I had no way of articulating it to anybody else at that stage. But what I know now is that I was being called to call the soul fragments of the collective consciousness back through my heart. And it's not the way I started when I first saw the fragments. So it was like just being able to see ghosts and spirit and, many, many different aspects of ourselves throughout the dimensions simultaneously. And they were coming towards me, and I knew that they were being called somewhere. And at the time, I didn't realize that they were being called to my heart. So I used to imagine that, the source of creation was something that existed outside of me. What I know now, and what took years to really, really understand and own, is that actually exists right inside of me, in my heart. And I am that source of creation myself. In the really early days, when I was dealing with, many, many thousands and hundreds of thousands of soul fragments in a day, I used to open up doorways. I knew that they were looking for a transition. I knew that they were trying to reach somewhere, and that place that they were trying to reach was a place of peace and a place of home. So I knew they were being called back to source, but I saw that outside of myself. So I used to open these big doorways outside of myself, up in the sky, and guide the fragments through back home. And I used to really hope, and I used to know, not just hope, that there was a whole load of magnificent beings waiting behind that doorway, waiting to greet these fragments of us, basically. And I was hoping that there were mighty angels there doing their work, and I knew that they were. It took years of doing the work in this way outside of myself to realize that those great beings and those mighty angels are actually us. And we are that. We are all of that. And a really, really pivotal point in the expansion of my heart and my understanding of that was when I knew that I could no longer send the pain, because most of it, in these fragments was our pain, and that I couldn't send the pain somewhere else outside of me, and that I had to call that pain to myself, through myself, and ultimately as myself, because it is me and it is us. And that's when I really, really started to understand that we are everything, and the light and the dark that we see, in really, really simple terms. Sorry to be biblical, but it's so easy to put it in these terms because it's been, the language has already been put there for us. But we are the angels and the demons. We're the whole story of creation as human souls. And when I first awoke and saw that there was so much darkness and so much pain and so much conflict, I was really, really hoping and banking on the fact that I was the light, and I was here to help clear up the dark. And as soon as the penny dropped and I finally got it, that I was both, that's when I started to find my balance point. And that was absolutely pivotal for me. And of course, the pivot point is the balance point. And the calling of ourselves through our hearts, light and dark, duality, the wholeness is the way to find balance. And so that's what I've been doing that's the simple version, because this is something that I've been doing for 14 years, every day. And some of those days have been incredibly painful, because it has been facing the most demonized and painful and locked down parts of myself and the collective, and embracing them and reminding them that they are love, that we are love, and reminding them and myself that we are free. So that's what I've been doing. I've been weaving my soul back together, collecting all my fragments, knowing that as I do this, I'm connected to everything, because we're not separate. The family of humanity is a family, and we began our journey as souls here on the earth in unity, as a family, as a team. But we came here to experience separation and duality consciousness as a choice. So we separated from ourselves and from each other, knowing that we would one day wake up and realize that we're actually all one. and that this experience of extremes, of, you know, the extreme joy and the extreme light and the extreme dark and the extreme pain and the truth and the illusion and all the pieces in between, was a journey that we came here to have, to understand the whole of creation. And as we come back together, because that's what we're doing now, we're coming back into our hearts, into unity, so that we can experience the love and the joy and the oneness of being whole in ourselves and whole together as a family of humanity. And this journey's been unfolding for a long time, and I certainly didn't start this journey, but I'm so honoured to have been a part of this journey, and we're all a part of this journey. We're all in this together. And even though it doesn't look like it in the world today, the greatest change of all is here. It's not just knocking on our door anymore, as it has been for a long time. It's actually here. And so many people are already so ready to embrace themselves like never before, because hearts have been opening, you know, not just my hearts have been opening for decades and decades, and people have been stepping up and speaking out and, you know, spreading the love that they are in the world for a long time. And because of that, the collective heart has been opening wider and wider and wider. And yeah,
I love what you
really oh, sorry, darling.
No, go on, you finish.
We're just at such a really pivotal point of that now. Yeah, I'll leave it there. That was a lot.
I love what you're saying there, and to me it feels like it's quite a big change, and for me this has shown itself, for example, in the way that I deal with the pain in my body. I was always trying to like get rid of the pain and get it out of my body, and the way that I approach that now is to breathe it into my heart. And it's the same if I encounter energies that that might be quite fearful for me, like if similar to what you've shared about discarnate spirits or soul fragments or whatever, or just something that to me is a fearful thing. And before, as you say, it was all about, you know, handing it over to the angels or creating a cylinder of light for them to go to source. And it's a real turnaround, but it almost feels like that was a necessary kind of part on the journey. We couldn't have gone from where we were straight to this. It was too much of a polarity. It was too much of a jump. And it feels like that was a necessary kind of stage of the journey to get us to this point. But I love what you say about the no separation, and this brings us into that fulcrum point. It brings us into that 0 point and into our hearts, like our heart. And our heart is in our body as well. It's the connecting point between the upper chakras and the lower chakras. It's the central point. And it just feels so right to me now, whatever it is, to be embracing that with love and not trying to just kind of get it away from me. And it's in the beginning, I think it's a bit of a challenging, it almost feels counterintuitive to want to do that, because our instinct is to get those things we fear away from ourselves. So I think the first time that we do it, it can be a fearful process to think, you know, no, that's not what I want to do. I don't want that near me. But it's all part of our it's a necessary part of our journey to accept that there is no separation, that I'm seeing there is me. And really the only way through it is to bring it in. And it's like kind of going like this and bringing it into our hearts, which is a very different way of doing things, but it feels now to me like it's the only way.
Yeah, all the stages that we've been through as we've become more and more aware have been the necessary steps. And all those steps have been steps towards ourselves. But it hasn't looked or felt like us. It's felt like something outside of us that we're in conflict with.
Yeah.
And that can't possibly belong to us, because it's, you know, it's painful, it's dark, it's wounded. That couldn't possibly be me. But you know, the most lost parts of ourselves are our greatest treasure, and we cannot outrun them. You know, we cannot outrun our pain, because our pain is us. But equally, we cannot outrun love, because love is us too. And love is the force right at the heart of us and right at the heart of all creation, and it's calling us. And it's like a magnetic force, you know. The love will call the pain, because those parts of us are longing to meet. You know, the parts of us that have been demonized the most are the parts that are longing to be back in the heart the most, because they're the parts that feel the most abandoned. And for so many people, and, you know, for myself in my early years, you know, I was surrounded by my brokenness. You know, it was before I had the awakening I spoke about. I spent pretty much the majority of my adult life depressed because so much of me that needed embracing was around me, and I had absolutely no idea of that. And I had absolutely no tools to deal with that. I couldn't see, you know. I had blindfold, you know, I had blinkers on, and the blinkers were mine as well. And so, you know, it was a huge gift to have this. It was a huge shock, but it was a huge gift as well to have this revealed in the way it was revealed, you know. So all at once. But it was the greatest gift of all to actually to gain my sight and my understanding that's actually me. And in our darkest, most painful places, you know, right in our dungeons, where we've locked ourselves down in this, I call it a game, you know, the game of duality that we all came to play, because it has been a game, and it's been a really long game and it's been a game of sides and division, and feeling ourselves on one side of the division and not feeling ourselves on the other side of the division, and not realizing that we are both, and not actually understanding that the pain that we experience as humans is the pain of being separated from ourselves and from our hearts, and the pain of not embracing ourselves as everything. So it's been a really long and amazing, interesting game, but the game is over. You know, the game, that part of the, I guess, narrative, you could call it, just starts to fall away when you realize that, you know, you exist on both sides of every fight that you've ever had with yourself. And also, you know, obviously this becomes a huge kind of battle scene when you think about all of us in the collective and how many times we've put up a fight against each other. And really all of the times we've put up a fight against each other have really, from the bigger picture perspective and from the perspective that I'm able to experience now, which is navigated from my own heart, you know, we're on both sides of every battle that we've ever had. And so we are our own lock and our own key, and we are our own force of liberation when we understand that we're both. So the work that I've been doing has been to bring, firstly for myself, you know, my locks and my keys together, and own that, you know, I have been just as much my jailer as I have been the part of me that has been jailed. And there's only one person that's going to get me out of that jail. And that's me, because I have the key, because I put myself there in this, what feels like an absolutely crazy old game, but it was what we chose to do, and we did it. And I'm so happy it's home time. Because yeah, we're all ready for a bit of home and unity.
And the illusion, you know, it's been a very elaborate illusion. It's not surprising that we were in that space. Like, it's been intricately woven, and we have intricately woven it. You know, there's often this separation of they, whoever they are, you know, and we are that. There is no they. There's only us. There's only we. I would love for you to share about Reset to Love.
Oh, yeah. So thank you. I just want to add one more thing before I say this, because it's the wisdom of Matt Kahn. I just want to add it to what you just said. It's something that really spoke to me when he said, the software is very, very, very well written and very convincing. And I use computer analogy quite a lot when I'm talking about my work, because we've all got, these days, we've all got a little, you know, we've got quite a lot actually of an understanding of how something like that works, that we, you know, programming and software and downloads, you know, we use those words a lot. And I use those words when I'm really trying to simplify what it is that I'm here to do with Reset to Love, because it's a language, you know, it's a language that I can communicate in very simply. So when I woke up 14 years ago, I knew that I was creating a tool to help with a you know, the shift of consciousness for humanity. And I've known for a long time that it would be like a switch that you could, you know, flick and everything would be okay again. And that's felt far-fetched for years, even though I've known it for many years as my soul's mission to find that switch within myself. It felt far-fetched, but it doesn't feel far-fetched now. And what I've been creating, as I've called this huge reflection of separation through my heart, what I've been creating is a map, very consciously leaving breadcrumbs behind me, knowing that I was being called to assist and to guide, and knowing that not every soul has the same journey. We're all individuals, and some of us came here to wake up earlier and show the way, and cut the way through the jungle and leave a path behind, so that the journey wouldn't be as long and as hard for everybody, because it's not the same. It's not the same for everybody. And I've known for many years that we'd reach a point of the collective heart being open enough, and enough love being pouring through the collective heart to shift very, very quickly. And we do shift very, very quickly these days when we choose to. And what I've been creating with Reset to Love is a map back to the heart, back into balance. Although we are absolutely incredible individual expressions of creation, we are also one. And we're all in this, we're all in this amazing dance of creation together. So the destination of heart and home and love is the same for all of us. So what I'm able to do now at this stage of my own journey is reflect the balance point that I've been searching for within myself and within the collective for so many years, to reflect that back to anybody who is ready for that shift. And so many people are ready for that shift. And that shift absolutely comes at the right time for whoever is receiving it. There's never an accident. And it comes with an awareness that we're everything. And many of us have been understanding that for a long time, and many of us, so many people are waking up at the moment. So there's a lot of people ready for a huge a huge shift altogether, because the power of it being together is huge as well. I mean, when we join forces, when we get together, we're incredibly powerful. The game of duality and separation has been a process of losing unity and losing that collective power of one. But now that it's so fully switched on in so many of us, it's really fast. It's really fast for those people that are ready. So Reset to Love is something that I've been creating for many, many, many years, and I've been distilling it and refining it as I've found my own way. And what I do now is, when somebody's ready, they'll find themselves with me and I'll work with them one-to-one and reflect those coordinates back to them. That's been my process for years, working one-to-one, but my mission is to work with groups, and I have started working with groups on a small scale. But I'm going to be putting this out on a much bigger scale very, very soon, so that so that it can be experienced by lots of people who are waiting to experience this shift back to the heart. Yeah, so it's all there, it's all ready. Reset to Love is up and running and ready to be delivered. I will have probably have a website up with a lot of information on, probably, oh, it could be Christmas, it could be the new year. But for now, what I'm able to do is offer a sample of Reset to Love, because it's available. It's available to anyone who chooses it, because it's us. You know, it's us at our central point of balance, just waiting to be claimed. So if you'd like to experience a sample of it, choose a really good time when you've got the whole day ahead of you, because the sample has a duration. You know, I have no rights to override free will, so it will be a temporary sample, so that you can feel what it's like to be in the balance as the equation of yourself and the sum of all your parts, and experience that as a temporary thing, and then decide for yourself if it's something that you want to experience more of. So if you would like to experience that, you don't need to do it now. You don't need to do it now while you're watching this. It's actually much more important that you do it on your own and understand that it's not me that you're receiving when you receive Reset to Love, and what you receive is a transmission, a reflection of yourself and your central coordinates of balance. And you receive it simply by being ready and asking. So if you'd like to receive a sample, and you can actually only receive the sample once, so do choose the right time. And I recommend at the beginning of the day, because it will last for 12 to 24 hours, and you don't want to sleep through it. You want to experience it, and all you need to do to experience a sample of Reset to Love of yourself as the wholeness, as whole as I can reflect back to you at this point. Just choose it, choose the right time, be relaxed, sit or lie comfortably with your arms and legs uncrossed, and simply say, I now choose to receive a sample of Reset to Love. And allow yourself 5 or 10 minutes sitting or lying down to receive what is a energetic transmission. And people experience it in many, many different ways. And yeah, take it from there. If it's something that you love, then get in touch with me. I'm discoverable these days. I wasn't when I last spoke to you, Denise, but I'm discoverable these days, and you can find me on Facebook and message me, and I'll be much more available very, very soon. And I hope those instructions were clear enough, Denise. Were those? Was there enough clarity there?
Yeah, and I've written the words in the comments as well. The
Fantastic.
Words to say.
Yeah. Obviously, not when you're about to. It is important to choose the right time. If you're just about to jump in your car and drive off to work, that's not the right time. And you know, if you've got lots of things to do, that's not the right time either. Choose a time where you actually have space for you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, something I didn't mention at the beginning is that you have been writing some poetry as well. And I would love for you to share one of your poems if you would like to.
Well, I'm glad you only want me to share one, because I've only written 2. And it came as a great surprise to me that I could even write poetry. And it was only a few weeks ago that this happened. And it happened when I was trying to put together a clear introduction in words to Reset to Love and what it's all about, you know, and to try and summarize, you know, the whole game of duality and the separation and the return to unity. So I had my computer open, ready to try and write that I have written in many ways, many different times, and a poem did actually just appear as if by magic. So yes, I would be delighted to deliver that to you now. It's called You Are Your Greatest Treasure Chest. You are your greatest treasure chest. You are your lock and key. With key and lock together, you will set you free. You are your own transporter. You are your ship and sea. Would you like to own your battlefields and know yourself as free? Come dance with me in starlight. Come dance with me at dawn. Duality is over. It's time to be reborn. We've danced the dance of ages. We've always been together. It hasn't always felt like that, but our love is forever. We have played on all the stages. We have acted all the parts. We have been the broken pieces of all our broken hearts. We chose to feel this breaking, the tearing of the heart. We chose to play creation. We knew this at the start. We even knew the pain would be the greatest pain of all. The loss of one another in the stumble of the fall. You knew you couldn't lose me, that one day we'd unite, and that many times you'd see me as the object of your fight. Open up your borders, put down your sword and shield, call your broken pieces from your battlefield. The fighting game is over. The DJ's changed the song. Are you coming home, my friend? The journey has been long. This message is from you to you. It washed up on your tide. It came here to remind you of the I you are inside. I came to wake me up again. I came to set me free. I came here to remind me I am you and you are me.
Wow. I'm glad I've heard that before. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And it just encapsulates everything. It's all of it in there. Beautifully written. And there's some really lovely comments coming through as well. And lots of hearts. How did that feel, sweetheart, to share that publicly?
Oh, such a huge relief. Such a huge relief, because, you know, we really, I think Yvanya wrote some beautiful words to me last night, and they were extraordinary and very, very helpful. And it was something like, yeah, you can no longer be what you're not. You know, you have to. It was better than that. It was much better than that. But you know, this is a time. You know, this calling is a time where we're here to be who we are, you know, and we cannot be anything at the moment in the energetics that we're experiencing. We can't be anything other than ourselves. And so there's so many of us ready to not only open our hearts but share our hearts, because once our hearts are full of ourselves, there's the only thing that we then desire to do, and what moves us forward is sharing it with others. Because, you know, we didn't come here to experience, you know, love and enlightenment and go and sit on the top of a mountain blissed out for years on our own. we came here to share, you know. And when you find that you actually are your greatest treasure, and all of this love is inside of you, or you find all the love inside of you, the first thing you want to do is share it. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to share it. It's a huge relief.
And can you imagine writing that and just being like, yeah, that's really good, and just, you know, putting it in the drawer? Like, there's just no way that you could. That, you know, and I think a lot of people are really coming into their gifts at the moment, and gifts like you writing 2 poems that you didn't know were there.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing time on the planet, and so many people, the creativity is off the charts, and I just see that getting stronger and stronger. And it's really beautiful when you find a part of yourself that you didn't know was there.
Oh yeah. There's nothing like meeting with yourself. It really does bring the most extraordinary surprises, you know, where you're, you know, the absolute pearls and the diamonds are in our depths. They really are in our depths. And so, you know, when we claim our depths, and we claim our dungeons, you know, we claim ourselves as our greatest treasure, and we become that treasure, and we experience ourselves as the absolute love of our lives. And yeah.
And it's such a I don't want to analyze your poem, because it kind of speaks for itself, but that can get into all hearts. Those words can reach all hearts. I feel that there's no kind of dogma behind it, that there's no restrictions in those words. They have the power to reach every heart.
Oh, thank you, honey.
Did you say you'd written another?
Sorry?
Did you say you'd written another?
I have written another, but I certainly don't know that one off by heart or anywhere close to. And no, this is definitely the one for sharing for now. And yeah, isn't it amazing? So many people are writing poetry, because, you know, the word is such a powerful form of expression. And I think as soon as it's taken into a structure like poetry, it becomes fluid. And, you know, it's not restricted, you know, there's no restrictions. It's an open space to create in. And yeah, we can just flow so much more with our words through poetry and song, and
and it's so accessible. That was maybe the word I was looking for before. It's so acceptable to everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Is there... Oh, there's been no fireworks. I forgot to mention there might be fireworks, and there hasn't been any. I just noticed my notes and read the word fireworks, and I was like, oh yes, I was going to mention the fireworks. And just, say, if you hear fireworks, they are fireworks. No one's getting shot, as far as I know. Is there anything else you want to share? Anything else that is wishing to be spoken into this space?
I'd just like to share that I'm going to be sharing a whole lot more.
Yay!
And thank you for making it such a comfortable process for me to be able to share, because you just have created such an amazing space here for us, people like us, to to come and feel so comfortable in. Thank you, Denise.
My
You're
pleasure.
amazing.
It's not so scary after all, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not so scary after all.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing space with me, and thank you to everybody who's been watching us as live and who will also watch on the replay. And thank you for the contributions that have been coming in as well. Love Speaks Love is really something that is shared from the heart. But it's been really beautiful of late to be receiving some contributions towards that, which I'm really, really grateful for. So I just wanted to speak that. And in that, there's no expectation of that. But when it happens, it touches my heart, as do all the beautiful comments that come through as well. So thank you, everybody. And if you feel someone will benefit from this and you wish to share it along, that is always helpful too. And also just to mention that Melissa Dehan is going to be with me. She's speaking to Michael Mejia in about an hour on Solargy, on Soul Speaks 5D. No, on the Word, but on Solargy. And she is with me on Tuesday, I think. So yeah, look out for that. She's my next guest. And then I'm not sure who's after that. It'll be a little surprise. Thank you so much, Tori. I love you.
Thank you. I love you too.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon.